I prefer to call D365. It's easy and short. I may call as AX, maybe call as FNO or SCM. Just make sure that you understood. Before moving into the functional capabilities or the parameters setting and a little demo into the ECM, let first me introduce about myself. Who am I? So hello everyone, Rakesh, Shabir and the team to arranging this session and getting us and growing us together. Thanks for everything. Now, I am having around 15 plus years of experience. Mostly initial years of experience was into the manufacturing domain. I was working there as a manufacturing person, like a production guy, production supervisor, a kind of that. Then I, into the same manufacturing organization, I moved to as a key user, from key user to become as a super user. So you can say I'm like having semi IT experience into that. Worked on various different ERP systems during the manufacturing tenure, like in BAN or SAP, JD Edwards. And then I shifted my career around 9 years back, maybe 9 plus years back in Dynamics. Since then, I have worked into the AX 2009, mostly worked in AX 2012 R3, and now as the recent launch in D365 FNO. I worked, as already told you, that I worked mostly in manufacturing domain, so I do have a good understanding of the manufacturing and SCM related activities. The various domains where I worked as having locks or maybe locking solutions, jewelry industries, automobile or ancillary components manufacturing. I also worked in pharmaceutical related business and having small hands on logistics and home appliances or home services business. I have completed my certification in supply chain manufacturing functional consultant associate in D365 and now as a part of the Mumbai India Dynamics 365 group. So thanks for listening me. Now move to the agenda. So today's session will keep a small, short and crisp. We may first try to understand what is ECM as the new functionality introduced in D365. Then we are going to understand the benefits or the features which the functionality is offering to us. Later on, we will move to understand what are the setups or and prerequisites which must be there for the execution of the ECM functionality. And after going through all these three topics, later on, we'll move to the use case or maybe a small walkthrough or a demo scenario where we understand how the functionality is being taken care into the system, what are the different parameters that we have created is available, how it impacts the whole process, and how we manage or control the engineering change. Let's move to the topic first, that what is ECM? So if we understand the ECM as just a change management, then we know that change management could be anything. It could be from a business process change management, a HR change management, a policy change management, a product change management. But then those are the normal change management processes. But this change management is specifically mentioned as engineering change management. It simply means there is something related to engineering attributes which can be managed or which has to be managed. Now, engineering change management means the change management of an engineering, whether it's a process or a component. Mostly it is related to products or items which are engineered products, which may have a high cost of production, the volume may be low, the delivery of the products may be as and when required because that's as it's engineered product as we call so, and to manage all those engineering changes, we have to have a special functionality or tool in our hand by which we can understand, we can change, and we can control the whole engineering management related to product or item. This feature mostly useful for the manufacturing organization where if they are using a discrete manufacturing like simple assembly of a components, smaller sub-assemblies, buying of the products there, or maybe into the process manufacturing where we are using formulas, ingredients, active participants or active materials. So that ECM is mostly beneficial for the organizations who are dealing with the manufacturing process, could be process, discrete, or even to lean manufacturing. So now that's about the whole picture of the ECM. Now let's try to visualize or take that concept into the D365. But before that, let me just pitch you in the one functionality which we always know or which may heard of is called as a PLM, means product lifecycle management. So it could be a physical project or a tangible product. It could be a software product or it could be a sellable product which we can physically or tangibly see. But again, as a engineering product, so we may specifically think of the product which is a tangible in its nature. In engineering organizations, they mostly prefer to have a PLM as altogether their legacy system or a different system which is may or may not be integrated with their current ERP system which they are using. Why? Because PLM has a different stages of the products. For example, they may design the product from conceptualization stage to a design stage to a development stage, or maybe from prototype to production stage, and ultimately after successful launching or maybe after end of the cycle, then ultimately to its obsolescence stage. But those cannot be easily handled in ERP, or you can say may require a altogether jugglery process to control this. It's better most of the organizations took PLM as a different entity or software or a legacy system, which may not be having direct relation with ERP. So now, because as PLM engineers, they know it's very hard to control the or to know all these stages of the product, to remember all these issues, defects, complaints, or maybe the improvements from which they are going through. So now to control all those PLM activity into one system, ECM will take care of that whole story altogether in an ERP. Now we are slowly getting the understanding of ECM in generic way, then how it is related or correlated with PLM. Now we'll think all those concepts, a generic concept from the perspective of ERP product. Specifically, we are talking about D365. In D365, the ECM, I prefer to call ECM, it means engineering change management. So in D365, ECM will streamline all the PLM process which currently are outside the legacy system or indirectly connected to their current legacy system. So ECM will streamline all the PLM of the organizations from ranging from the product version management to the product obsolescence or to the end life of the product with all the complications available into the PLM or the product lifecycle stage. I believe that will be the enough introduction or understanding of the ECM, PLM, and the products. Let's move to the next stage where we are getting the benefits or the features of the current ECM offering, which we call as adding or maybe an additional feature in D365. Let's first focus on the benefits. What are the benefits? The benefits listed over here are not the only one. This is the abstracted list from many benefits, but as I have noted down few because those are the pain point related to PLM or an engineering team. So the first benefit is ECM brings structure and discipline to the product data management process. Now, what do I mean by structure and discipline? As we have seen in ERP, especially if we talking about the D365, we have a product management or a PIM module, which is called as a product information management module. It was introduced in 2012, not there in 2009, where we understood that there are few forms called as all products and product master. Then there is a third form which is called as a released product. So either you will create a product in product or product master, validate all those informations related to your product, and then you will release those products to specific organizations or entity. And then in release product master, you have to validate few of the transactional data, and then you are good to process or you're good to have the transactional data on those items. So those were the features or the process what we have to follow. So ECM is leveraging that functionality into a different manner. So it is taking the current structure of the product called as a product master and release product master, and then it will have that structure in a disciplined manner where you can control the product life cycle. So it could be a design phase, or it could be a prototype phase, or it could be operational phase, or maybe end of life phase. So not only it brings the structure which is currently available, but it will also provide a discipline to the products or the items which we have to control in organization. The next benefit is which enables the definition or the releasing functionality. Now enables definition and releasing, as I already informed you that we have a product master and release functionality, and ECM encounter, or maybe rather than encountering, it is leveraging the same functionality, but on top of that it will make its own revisions. Like when we introduce the first product into the engineering organization or maybe into the manufacturing organization, it marks with the versions, and as and when we go into the life cycle of the stages, we are having chance to update the versions to next versions, and then we can obsolete the older versions. So by that way, it not only disciplines, it not only structures, but it will give the history of the item or the life cycle stage of an item which is currently not available till AX2012. The third good benefit of the ECM is it supports workflow. Now where it supports workflow? So engineering change management requires a managerial process or maybe a change initiation process. The change initiated, can it be through a change request? Like we always heard of the change request, which may or may not be related to ERP, but somewhere else. After verifying, approving, or getting approval from the request, we are making that change request as a change order. And then as per the order, we are executing the methodology which is defined by the organization. So that's the normal way of changing or implementation of change. Now workflow supports in both areas. What are those? One is the change request and the other one is change order. We are definitely going to see all those features in upcoming slides as well as the demo. The next benefit is, as I have reiterated all those things, that it can be documented, It will assess the impact of the change of the product, could be in production order, could be in sales order, or maybe into the inventory, and also tracks the whole life cycle of the product. So those were the benefits. Now let's move to the features. What features ECM is offering? First is product versioning. So that can be considered as a discipline, because versioning not only gives the history where we worked, but it will also provide and learning that yes, we are going through the stages of the version 1, version 2, and version controlling. Next feature is enhanced product release functionality. Now why it is called enhanced product release functionality? Because it has some features which are leveraging from current release functionality, and it will allow us to release our engineering products from engineering company to other legal manufacturing or different entities which we are operating. Sorry. Next feature is improved product lifecycle management. As of now, I haven't seen as a direct functionality in X2012 where we can set as an item, as an operational item, or maybe an obsolete item, or maybe as an engineering item. We may not have a direct functionality. We directly have to stop the item by doing different parameter setups or changing the default order settings or parameters into that. But in ECM, we have a functionality or a form where we can define the different life cycle of a product. It could be as per our wish, like maybe design phase, development phase, operational phase, maybe a prototype, or maybe an obsolete phase. And the next best features are engineering change request and engineering change orders. So these are the features which we can easily understand, which we can easily leverage from the current ECM functionality. Now moving to the next topic, which is a setup or prerequisite area. Now from this topic onwards, we are moving closer to the functionality, how the ECM will look like in D365, what are the parameters, what are the prerequisites that must be there before to execute the ECM process. So in next couple of slides, we are going to understand different parametric values. We can call it the setup also. And then in the last slide, or maybe in the demo slide, we'll see the different steps from the product creation to product release into the manufacturing organization. Then we are assuming that there is issue into the one of the existing component, and then we'll see how we can replace that component with the help of change request, change order, and then again deploy the new version of the master item. So into the first setup, and the prerequisite is that engineering organization. So for first and foremost condition that we have to define the engineering organization, because this will control the release functionality of an item from an organization to the other manufacturing or other legal entities. You may have heard of the engineering organization as like MDM, a master data management, or maybe a master company or a setup company. So it's kind of similar functionality, but we are having some customization in MDM or maybe a legal entity, and we are play around. But here ECM is providing the direct functionality or benefit of having that. So first foremost thing is defining an engineering organization. So which is DEMF, which I also mentioned in my parameters as a DEMF is my engineering organization. The next and best feature I like about ECM is the product lifecycle state. So as I told you that in older versions, we may not have such type of direct functionality we have to play around many parameters, or we may have to customize. But ECM is providing that as a functionality where we can get this as a lifecycle state, and we can see some of the lifecycle states has already been defined. Those are like end of life, or maybe in design, obsolete, maybe operational and prototype. And in the area where it says as enabled business processes, if you able to see my moving cursor, those are some of the processes and process areas which has already been defined by the ECM lifecycle state, and we have to just toggle around them. For example, if the stage is operational, so it simply means that the product is in operational for all the business process areas, and we can play around with the policy, like we can enable it, or we can block it, or we may enable with some warning. So there are 2 or 3 policies which are there, and we have to choose among them. If the product state is obsolete, that simply means that product should not get used anywhere in any transaction. It could be maybe a planning, maybe a sales, purchase, or inventory. So in all those areas, or in processes and process areas, we can make that policy as a blocked for the PLC stages of obsolete. So when the PLC stage is obsolete for an item, and if any user is trying to use it, it won't allow, or system won't allow a user to use that item either by intentionally or accidentally. It is preventing to having wrong transaction or wrong input into the system. Moving to next. The next functionality is product version number rule. Now, in one of the feature or benefit, we have seen that it brings a discipline to the product lifecycle. That discipline is bringing through product version number rules. As of now, we are having these 3 rules listed as per the number rule, which is the drop down enum field, fixed enum field. Sorry if I pronounce it wrongly. And those 3 number rules are either it could be auto, we can define the format as per our wish, which you can see here as a v dash hash hash. The other one is the list. List means where system will provide you a functionality to number the versions as per your preference. So as per the auto rule, when system create a first version, the version would be v-01, and then accordingly it will go to 99, up to 99 in auto mode. But in list mode, we have the option to make it as per our wish, like you could be having A, B, C alphabets, or maybe numbers A1, A2, or maybe only numbers 1, 2, 3. So there you have the possibility to define the format as per our wish, and that possibility is only available in number rule list. Third is the manual, where you do not have any format, you do not have any option to maintain it. It just make it as the manual. So whenever you try to save or create a version, it will ask for a manual numbering or manual description text field. You can put that value into the parameters or put that value into the section. So this is how the product version number rule is defined into the system. Next thing is product category. Now this is like leveraging the current product category or product master which is available in AX 2012. As I already told you, before releasing the item, we have to create a product. Either it could be in all product or product master, or it could be only just into the product form. So this form is similar to that. It is just leveraging that functionality, like where you can see the product type could be an item or service over here. The production type which is currently available in item master as a BOM, none, planning item. co-product, byproduct. So all those are production types which you can define over here. If the current product structure would have a product subtype like as a product master, you can define it as a product or product master. If it is product, the dimension group will disable. But if it is product master, you have to define the dimension group and the requisite configuration technology. So till this point, we can see the leveraging of existing facility or existing function. But then there are few other functions which you can see here, and at the bottom there are some fast types. So let's just quickly understand what are those. You can see it's a product lifecycle state at the creation. I have set it as operational. So when we choose this product category while creating an item, the by default operational or lifecycle state would be as an operational. You can define it as whatever you want. It could be a prototype, design, or development. But as to run through a scenario, I make it as an operational. We can change it to prototype because in both the lifecycle stages, almost all the functionalities get enabled. This is how I have set those. The version number which you can see here is the auto. So I have set it this as auto. And then there are different other parameters. Whether you want to enforce the rules, if there are some rules. These are some attributes, special attributes if your product is having maybe length, width, dimensions, or maybe any engineering attributes which you can define. The readiness policy and release policy. We are going to see those in the upcoming slides. So this is the release policy. Now this functionality is kind of leveraging the functionality of current AX of releasing the products, but with some additional features which you can control. So those are like similar to product type, whether it could be item or service, you can define for both. And whether it could be a production type of a BOM or maybe none, or the different parameters or values which are available into the system. The next important thing which I like is the template. So it's nothing but a similar template which we are aware of template format in release product. Like when we are creating an item, there is a form called apply template. So when we choose that apply template form, it populates some value that for which reference item you want to pull all those values to this new item. It could be a storage dimension, it could be a model group, it could be an item group or other parameters. So same type of functionality has been merged or got connected into this form, and here you can define the template. So this is DMFF, DEMF. So I have defined the template item as 003. So whenever I choose a specific category from here, I will get a specific template. And this is the parameter where you really want to choose the template every time. It's like always, none, or maybe always with warning. Such type of features are there. And as soon as the item get released, whether you want to activate automatically or you want to activate manually. So that feature is also available. Same way, if you see there are few checkboxes which shows that receive BOM and copy BOM approval, copy BOM activation, and same with result. But as of now, I have chosen only single functionality like receive BOM because an engineering item may have a different approval person in the engineering organization, and manufacturing person may have a different approval people in their local plant because they may use some local components which are very common to manufacturing process, maybe a cardboard, a cotton waste, or maybe a liquid, something like that, and they want to add those minimal items into the costing. So to allow all those functionalities, so I have just restricted my template to receive BOM only. Moving to the next slide of the setup and prerequisites is the ECM parameters and the two workflow types which currently available into the ECM. So in ECM parameter, this is the parameter, or you can say a field like product acceptance, where I have chosen as a manual. So there are only two fields, manual or I believe automatic or maybe an accept directly. So what does it do? It helps the manufacturing plant or the other legal entity to verify the product which has been released by engineering team, to see the details of the product, and as per the engineering change, understand it and then approve it. So whenever there is an approval process where a manual intervention or manual check is required, we have to set it this as a manual. So as soon as we release the items from ECM, it won't directly get released to specific legal entity or manufacturing legal entity or manufacturing plant. It will sit a kind of open product master page. There we can validate, and then the plant engineers or planners from an organization can approve it. And there the workflow comes into the picture. We can either set the process as an auto approval or manual approval. If it is related to change orders or change request, we can set those workflows as per our need or demand, or as per the business requirements are. Now, I believe this is the last parametric or setup form. We have heard of the change request and change order, and you can see the top form as a change request. This is the first step while changing the product or items, or you can say initiation or trigger point of the change of an item. You can see the change request number, the title, or maybe the priority or category and severity. We can define all those as per the business needs, business rules. The person who has requested, because I have created it, so my name is there. You can see the status which is created. And at the change state, at the top, you can see approve, cancel, or maybe reopen. So when that change request is requested by maybe a shop floor person, and then it goes to an shop floor engineer or maybe a plant supervisor, where he says, okay, fine, the change request initiated by you is really valid. Let's inform the engineering team, and then they will take care from there onwards. So either you can create an change order from a change request, or either let engineering team create a change order with the reference of change request, and then let them do the necessary changes in the current product lineup or current product structure, and then release it to again normal manufacturing plant. So this is the parametric way. This is the thing like how the items are flowing from ECM to manufacturing. Manufacturing understands the issues, defects, problems. They will report it through the change request, and then the change request goes to again engineering. The engineering will validate it. They will create an order, and with the help of change order, they will do the required changes into the engineering item, and then again release the second version or the newer version of the existing item to the manufacturing plant. So as of now, we have seen all those parameter setups or prerequisites. The last thing which we must have into the D365 to work on the same functionalities, we must have the engineering change management functionality as an enable feature, which we can find through feature management. And there are some configuration keys which you may find in configuration, license configuration as the ECM, engineering change management, or maybe a product dimension as an version. So those are the two controlling parameters which will help you enable the ECM, and then the above ones all are the functional or the process parameters which you need to define to successfully execute the ECM process. Moving to our last slide, or you can say a slide before the actual walkthrough or demo. So let's take an example like in an automobile manufacturing company. One of the sub-assembly which is supplied by the local vendor is not available, as that part become obsolete because of latest government norms. Hence the vendor and the company agrees to use the new component in one of the assembly of the product. So as I already told you, it's mostly beneficial or helpful for the manufacturing or engineering organization. So I also take the simple example of discrete manufacturing, where there is one subassembly which may have two components, let's say subassembly 1, subassembly 2, or maybe top subassembly, bottom subassembly. That's it. And then we'll see how those items are getting created in engineering organization, how do we release it, and then we'll see how the changes will get initiated. So those are the points which I have noted down, which we can see now. The first one is creation of engineering products, then releasing those to local company, then reviewing and accepting the product that has been released, like by the local company, they will review and accept it. Then just we'll see that how the life cycle, product life cycle will help us to understand the sales order functionality or the how to add the release product into the sales order. Then we'll initiate a change request as per the customer complaint, or maybe the item is in prototype, just it's moved to the manufacturing and they found out that there is a defect or the part the engineering team has defined is not available in current market. So the manufacturing plant will initiate a change request, then that will be taken care in change order, and then we'll see how that new item will again get updated into the existing assembly. Let's move to the session. I hope till now you have at least understood what is ECM and how the functionality is been taken care or is been available in D365. So let me go into the engineering change management module. Before that, let me show you I'm into the engineering organization, which is DEMF. And the parameters which I have shown to you are available in the setup, like engineering change management parameter, workflows, engineering organization, a product category, life cycle stages, numbers, and all those things are available. Let's start with the creation of an item. So we can directly create through the release product detail form. This form is similar, or you can say is only the release product form, but with addition of few functionalities which you can see. In product, there is a new tab called as engineering product. So when you enable the ECM, I believe this new tab or maybe this engineering product button will get enabled. So when you want to create engineering items, you have to use this functionality as engineering product, not new, because when we create a new, it will just release an item without an engineering version control. But you want engineering version control, you have to do it through engineering products. So let me do it. You can see it asks me the engineering product category as the first mandatory field. So I'm going to choose as a new product which I already defined. Product owner, it's not the mandatory thing which you can skip or you can define as you want. Let me write this as A1000 dash final assembly is the product number. The product name is a final search name, and then I'll just click on OK. You can see the new product form will get processed and it will show the A1000 FA final product assembly is been created. Now we have to click on the engineer tab, and then there you can see the engineering change management has the whole lots of features where you have to click on the engineering versions, and you can see the engineering version V001 has been created. But before that, it gives me the warning message storage tracking dimension group that have not been specified. Click on dimension group. So this is because I have not set or updated the template for an item. So there are some parameters which I intentionally skipped. So to understand what are the things that we need to define on the go or which can be controlled through the parameters. And then we can also validate whether the item has been created validated, which says still there are some fields. Let me update it. And This is how your item got created. So before moving into creation of another item, let me show you how product life cycle is controlling all those parameters, because I have to define all the storage tracking dimensions because I missed to add the release policy. Release means releasing an item to an organization. And when we have to release, you have to mention all those parameters. As there were no policy, that's the reason I have to maintain it. So to avoid that thing, I will mention this release policy as the mobile one, and then I will save it. Now, as we have created the first item as the main assembly, let's quickly create the other two parts as a subassembly 1 and subassembly 2 in a similar manner. It may not take much time. Again, I'm going to choose this same as a new product. So 1 and sub, and then or maybe subassembly 1 as the item, subassembly item. Let me see. You can see the subassembly item has been created. Let me see what version system has created. You can see now system hasn't provided me the error log which has provided, because now I have defined the release policy. So this is how the release policy get controlled or get operated. Good. So now let me create the final item as subassembly 2, and then we'll create a BOM for that. Same way, engineering product category. Let me paste it. I know. Is there an issue in a system or okay? It's a new product. You can see. Okay. Assembly 2. So now we have created a structure where there is a main assembly and there are two components, subassembly 1 and subassembly 2. So you can see all those items are available in release product form as 1000 FA main item or final assembly, subassembly 1 and subassembly 2. So let's create the BOM for final, which includes these two subassemblies. So I'm choosing this, going into the engineer and going again into the engineering version, where I will choose this version as V1, and you can see the engineering version field appears. So you have the functionality to make this version as a active from and to. You can see the life cycle as a product prototype, because this is the life cycle I have set for product category. These are the attributes which if you want to define, you can. This is the field where you can define all the documents pertaining to the engineering product. And this is the area where you have to define the BOM. So let me create the BOM as E. Okay, I will define a site, or you can skip a site. I will define as A. So the BOM version has been created. Let me add the lines into that BOM version, and those lines would be the two items just now we have created as subassembly 1001 item as A1002. Great. So I have defined the line. Now let me approve this BOM and the BOM version. My name is appear because I have defined my name as an employee. The bill of material header, or you can say BOM, where lines has been approved. Let me approve the whole version and activate it. You can see the active and approve version is there. Great. Now the next functionality is we have to release this engineering item to a local manufacturing company. So in our case, it's USMF. So I'm going to release that item. But in this case, I will choose only the parent item to release. So how to do that? The parent item has been selected. I'm going into the product and then release product structure. I will click on that. I will select this item. Great. And then I will select this item. You can see the release details has been enabled. You click on that and see this is the final item. The two items which are under those is defined over here. You can move to the next. Choose the company USMF, enter the site, and then again click on next. And then finally you will finish. And then after that it will show that the item has been released. You can see into the messages that product so and so has been sent to USMF. So now let's quickly jump into the USMF organization and see where is that item lying. If you remember that the releasing functionality or accepting of the item into the organization is manually controlled. So they won't appear into the release product form directly. They would be into the open product release form. You can see the item which we have sent is available in open product release. We can choose this. We can, open this. We can see how the items are there, which are those items. We will mention the template, like which are the storage and tracking dimensions the item should have. Let me mention all these three items, and then I will accept and approve these changes. So you can see the action message over here, and then I will accept it. You can see the product A1000-FA is released. Let me refresh this page and this data will vanish off. Let me go into the release products and you can see the product is available in the USMF. Initially it was not there, but now it's available with all 8 child items, not only the final product, but all these 3 items are directly get released into the manufacturing organization. Now, up till now, we have covered that these 3 points, that creation, releasing, and reviewing and accepting. Now, just quickly see the sales order functionality, but as we can see, the time is crunching. So I just explain you how the functionality is. It's simpler when you see an item or when you add an item into the sales order, then the system will validate the product lifecycle state. So for our item, it's a prototype item. So though it is a prototype and I have said is a warning, disable as a warning. So whenever I insert this item in S order, system will or AX will throw an error that the product lifecycle won't allow to use this item. So this is how a person, a manufacturing person or a user will get notified that we should not have to use it or we have to take care utmost care for processing of those items. Now the next few features is change request and change order. So let's quickly jump into the change request. So what is the change request? Assuming that in real manufacturing, the prototype item A1002SA is having some issue. It could be like a vendor who is supplying the assembly may not able to supply because of a number of reasons. So what we can do, we can raise a change request against that item. So for that, we have to go into engineer and then we have to click on the engineering change request. There is an option called new engineering change request. Let me open that. You can see the new request has been opened and you can write the text whatever you want, like a change request for sub assembly, priority as per the organization which you said is an emergency, urgent, or routine, could be a routine category, or maybe change, a new development, or issue, let me say as an issue, and severity as a low. So you can see the rest of the fast tab like information, the product fast tab, and the source fast tabs are empty. So let me first save this record. And when I save this record, you can see the same product has been added into the product and the source is products and the description is product number so and so. It means the source of the change request is the own item. It means it's a product and this is the description of the item who has created Nitin Bagate in USMF. It could be, the source could be a sales order or purchase order from where you are creating this order. Now the next stage is you have to approve it, but system won't allow you until and unless you provide some information of this change request. So I'm saying that no vendor available. Whatever you want. And then what is the restriction, whether it could be internal or external. It means the information which you received is through internal or external. So I believe vendor is called as external, so you mention it as a external, and then you put all these detail, the more detail into this node section, and you can save this. Then you can see the status is created as of now. Let me approve it. The status is changed to approved. That's it. So the change request number 0032 has been created for item 1002 in USMF company. Now this change request need to processed via change order, and then the change order will update the item. So let's quickly jump into DEMF, because DEMF is the engineering organization which is controlling of all these change orders. So now the change order is either you can directly create a change order from an item, or you can directly go into the module engineering change management and then create a change order. And you can see the change order form appears. Let me create a new, and this is a change order from Hello, Nitin. Nitin, we can't hear you. It seems that Nitin got disconnected. We will allow him 2 or 3 minutes. Yeah, Nitin. Yeah, you are audible. So let me quickly continue our session. I'm sharing my screen. We're into the change order. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, Nitin, it would be great if you can speak a little bit louder.
Okay. Okay, great. It's good
Yeah,
now.
much
Okay.
better, Nitin. Thank you.
So now we are into the change order. So let me add the item which has the issue. You can directly create the change order from the item. The item we are having issue is A1002SA. Let me save this. And if you search that the item is been used in various finished goods, so you can find that the item is getting used in this assembly. So you can directly see and update only this final assembly. So what we are going to do is, because we have added the item which is having issue, so we are going to change its product life cycle from prototype to obsolete, because we want to obsolete that item. We are going to save it. We will add a new item which is a parent item which is affected, or you can say which got affected because of this change or the issue. Okay, so this is the final item, and the line is chosen over here as a version 1. And what we want to do, we want to create a version 2 for the final assembly. So let me choose a new version, and you can see the new version v02 has been created. So let me save this change to be able to enter value in item model group. Okay. Sorry, give me some time. The order number is, change order number is 20. So it won't allow me to proceed further because I have missed one of the necessary value in main item. So let me just update it. Let me go into the release product of a DEMF. It is in my recent release product. This is my final item because I haven't, I haven't come on, FIFO. Let me save it. Let me validate it again. So this item has been validated. I believe so. This is how you have created a new version, but the new version is only created. We have to update the BOM of that new version. So let me choose the item which is newly available for that error item. So I'm going to the lines. These are the two items currently having. I'm going to delete this because this is the obsolete item. So I'm going to delete this. You can see after deleting, it won't disappear. It marked it as a deleted. Then I'm going to add a new one and then I will choose the new item. Let's say maybe item 003, and then I will save the newly created BOM. So my new BOM would have item 003, and this is how I will save it. I will approve my change order. You can see the status has been changed to approved because this has been approved by engineer team. Then I'm going to process these changes. This process won't allow me to update it because my older version of the final item is currently active. For that, I have to deactivate that version, and let me deactivate it. Let me also let BOM versions activate approve is done. BOM lines. Okay. So item FA engineer product versions. So it's mostly related to engineering BOMs, activation, approvals, all those things. So it's approved, it's deactivated. Great. So it's deactivated. Now let me again process the change order. You can see the status now disabled. From approved it becomes to processed, and the final stage is to complete. So as soon as completed, it means the change order has been completed. The new changes has been employed into the DMF. So finally, we have to deploy this new item into the manufacturing organizations, which is our USMF. So let me go into the engineering change management, open the release product, and open the final item, which is our 8001 FA. Let me go into engineer and see the versions, and we may see there are two versions, one first version, second version. So what we are going to do is we are just raising the second version. So for that, we are coming into the product, release product structure, and we are choosing the version 2 which is available here. I am providing the site. Okay, let me again choose this. You can see release detail is updated, and you can see the new item. So instead of subassembly 1, the new item 003 is available now in the new BOM. And then I'm going to move to the next one. I will going to choose USMF as 1 and then releasing it. The item is released, but it won't be available in the organization as in the version 2. It may be available in the open product releases. Okay, I may have made a mistake. It may be into DMF. Sorry. Sorry for taking your time. Just a last activity where we have to release the changes into the organization, engineering organization. And when I see it in the release product, we have to do it from the DMF organization, version 2, site is there, next, USMF 1, then next, and then finish. So it must be released now into the organization. So as I've shown you the release functionality, which is similar to the previous version. So this is how the first version get deactivated and the new version get available into the engineering organization with the new details. And you can see the lines, and new lines would be a 003. So this is how the new BOM, or you can say the control of and engineering product, can be taken care. So that's it from the processes. I believe I have covered the change order, change request, and the release functionality. So I believe that is the end of the demo and the session. Sorry for interruption and the small goof up. You can ask the questions, whatever you have now.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nitin. I think it was indeed a very excellent session from your side. I can see a couple of questions from one of the participants, Kamesh. But instead of iterating through his questions, I would like him to speak up and ask his questions personally. Kamesh, I have enabled your mic. If you want to speak
Yeah.
up.
Hi, you can hear me?
Yes, Kamesh.
Yeah.
Hi. So, like, my first question is, we have a product dimension already enabled called as version, right? So,
Right.
what is actually that version is different from the ECM version?
Okay. Uh, if you understand the product concept correctly, so we have a product dimensions like site, size, and color or style. And we have a normal product. So we have a product and product master. So we can leverage the functionality having item with all those dimensions in a single line, like item A with color black, without creating a product master. I just want to have a product with this name. Then I will create another product with item A with color blue. So even though there is a functionality of having product master, I will still use the product because I have some different business requirements where I do want to track the inventory as per the color. I do want to track the costing as per the versions. And as there is a complicated involved as a costing and everything, we could not, we could not recommend it to use a product master when there is a different costing for different color. So same way, if you have a product version, so in a product master, there is one option or one section got added as a version behind the style, like we have size, color,
Yeah.
style, and after that we got a version as activated. So same way, the ideology remains same, whether you want to use that version as a product master or you want to use an individual item as a product master. So you have a two way, handle it through product master or handle it only via a product. But again, it depends upon the business requirement and the how costing you want. If you want a different costing with this number or this version, or the business scenario, maybe user may not able to easily identify a product dimension as a version while having transaction. So it's better to create a single product with different versions than having a product master with multiple versions. So it's again depend all those scenarios.
Thank you, Nitin. I have two more questions followed up. So,
Okay.
I just want to confirm my understanding. We have a product template in product information management, which just creates the exact duplicate copy of the product. But in
Mhm.
ECM, this is what we do, right? Like we create the exact, we just duplicate the exact product life cycle of the product. Am I correct?
Mostly, not product life cycle. So releasing functionality only controls the transactional data. even though in product we are creating a product where we do not add a transactional or validation data like storage tracking, item model, or item group. But when we are releasing it, we have to have those fields automatically populated into a newly created product through ECM. So to get all those fields automatically populated and pre-filled, we have to create a template in ECM where we call as a release policy. So kind of similar, but yeah, it will help.
Okay. And my last question is, Nitin, like, is there some alert feature to the user if there is a product change request? Now we go do manually, right? Like based on the slide, is there some alert request?
I specifically haven't, configured that, but I believe it should be, because whenever there is any activity, when we click on right click, we see create an alert. If that functionality is there, definitely we can set an alert.
Thank you, Nitin. It was a great session. Thank you so
Yep,
much.
thanks.
Thank you, Kamesh. Once again, thank you, Nitin, for sharing your knowledge with us. I am sure for most of us, the concept of ECM has been cleared, knowing that we are coming from technical background. Uh, this feature launched some time ago, and very few information is available online. But I must say, the the help of your domain knowledge, the expertise from your domain knowledge has actually simplified the understanding for us, and we thank you for that.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for allowing me.
Thank you. You can do
Thank
that.
you. Take care. Bye.